And I want to put to him this question: why is it that Akhilesh is winning in such dramatic fashion? We're seeing the BSP being mauled, the Congress not making much headway, the BJP stuck where it was. Explain these figures to our viewers, sir.
Rahul, look at situation in UP. In UP, we have a genuine four-corner contest. While SP is ahead with all the parties, we know that it's likely that they would likely to get about 31% vote. And in a four-corner contest, if you get about 31-32% votes, the party is almost sure to get about to touch the 200 figures. Look at what has happened in UP in the past. The best election in the UP for the last 20-30 years had been BJP when it got about 33% votes. That has been the biggest performance by one single party, and that time they managed to get about 225 seats. So if a party gets anywhere close to 30% votes, I think they are most likely to end up with anything about 200 seats. BSP, last time they had 30% votes and they ended up with 206 seats. This time, if they go down by 6% votes or 5% votes, which is likely to happen in this election, they would certainly go down by about 100 seats or a little more than that. Why that happens? That happens because these are the two parties. While we talk about BJP and Congress has the votes which are concentrated in different pockets. So even if they get less vote, they are likely to win some seats. But SP and BSP, their votes are spread all over the state. So if your votes are spread all over the state, you need a threshold, and the threshold is about 28-29%. As soon as you increase the vote by 1 or 2%, you start picking up large number of states, disproportionate number of states. As soon as your vote goes down by say 25 or 24% seats, then you are likely to lose lots of seats, and that is what is likely to happen in this election. It seems that that has already happened. The vote has already been cast. So that is the situation with SP and BSP.
So what you're essentially saying is that in Uttar Pradesh there is a hump. The moment the party gets beyond that hump, the momentum carries you through, and that is what has really worked for the Samajwadi Party. But what is it that made 6% of the voters move away? Because if you look at the vote shares, it's essentially voters of the BSP moving away to the Samajwadi Party according to your projections. What caused that, sir?
Looks like why there is a 6% decline in the vote share of BSP. BSP has in power in the state for 5 years. There were lots of expectation, especially among the Dalits. Dalit thought, because earlier Mayawati had been in power but for shorter durations. She never managed to complete the full term. This was the first occasion when she was in power for full 5 years. There were lots of expectations of the people, especially among the Dalits. Dalit thought that there's a Dalit who is the chief minister, so they had lots of expectation. I'm sure the expectation of the people at large, and especially among the Dalits, was not fulfilled, and that's why looks like as if there is a huge movement of Dalits away from BSP and shifted towards Congress and the SP. So this is about the Dalits. Also, I don't think that the upper caste vote which went to BSP during last 2007 assembly elections again moved away from BSP, and also BSP may have lost large proportions of lower OBC votes. So what has caused a lot of damage to BSP in this election.
What you're saying is very, very significant, because so far Mayawati and her party had believed that the Dalit vote in Uttar Pradesh is theirs for the taking. Sanjay Kumar saying his data, the surveys that he's been looking at, the people that he's been talking to indicate that a part of that Dalit vote, especially the non-Jatavs and some of the Jatav vote, to moving away from the BSP and going towards the Samajwadi Party. And also, Professor Deepankar Gupta, the fact that the upper caste who voted for Mayawati, at least the Brahmins had voted for Mayawati in the last election, they realized that the social engineering formula that Mayawati spoke of was good on paper, sounded good in the rallies, but didn't work on the ground. Everybody asked, what's in it for me except for Mayawati?
Well, yes, I agree with you up to a point, but I also believe that last election, the anti-Yadav factor was very strong. And most of the so-called non-scheduled castes felt the Yadav muscling into their territory was something they couldn't quite stomach. And this anti-Yadav factor has gone down significantly this time around. So I will not say there's a caste voting correlation. I would rather say there's a kind of very, very pronounced movement against the Mayawati's rule from those who had earlier voted for her because they were voting anti-Mulayam Singh. So that element, I think, is going to move back in place. However, I also feel that in West UP, Mayawati will not do very badly, because in West UP the polarization, past polarization between Mayawati or the Jatavs and the rest is very strong. However, and I also feel that what happened in 2007 was a bit of a freak thing for Mayawati. it will not repeat itself in the same way, which is why it is important to place 2007 in the backdrop of 2002, and I would say Mayawati will probably retain 2002 seats plus a few more from West UP.